In the year 2247, humanity had reached out into the stars, establishing colonies on distant planets. Among these new worlds was Thalis V, a lush, vibrant planet on the outer edges of the Orion Spur. Here, the humans had encountered the Sci-Fi, a mysterious race with customs as wild and varied as their kaleidoscopic skin tones. Lieutenant Michael Harris, a geologist from Earth, was one of the few selected for the Human Sci-Fi cooperative mission. His job was simple: to assist in the surveying of mineral resources crucial for both species. But his understanding of simplicity was about to be challenged in ways he couldn't have imagined. It was a cool night on Thalis V, the twin moons casting a soft glow over the Sci-Fi forest where the expedition team had set up camp. Michael was alone in his tent, poring over data from the day's survey, when the canvas flap rustled softly. Standing there, in the moonlit entrance, was Aliana, a Sci-Fi he had worked closely with over the past few weeks. Her presence wasn't unusual, but her attire, or lack thereof, certainly was. The Sci-Fi typically wore elaborate garments that shimmered in the light, reflecting their mood and status. Tonight, however, Aliana wore nothing, her skin shifting through a spectrum of colors that Michael had learned signified deep emotion. "Michael," she said, her voice a melodic whisper that seemed in tune with the rustling leaves outside, "I must perform the rite of Thalis, a ritual to ensure the success of our mission. It is an honor for you, chosen among all humans." Michael, though taken aback, remembered his briefing on Sci-Fi customs, which emphasized respect and open-mindedness toward all ceremonial practices. "Of course, Aliana. How should I assist in the ritual?" he asked, his scientific curiosity piqued despite the awkwardness of the situation. Aliana stepped closer, the colors of her skin now a dazzling display of golds and purples. "The ritual requires connection, an exchange of energy. On Thalis, we believe that to truly bond with the planet's essence, we must be as we were when we first walked its soil, free from barriers, physical and otherwise." As she spoke, she guided his hands, placing them on her shoulders, her skin warm and smooth under his touch. Michael felt a surge of energy, a warm current that seemed to flow not just through his fingers but his entire being. "Feel the energy of Thalis," Aliana instructed, closing her eyes. "Let it flow through you, understand it, become one with it." The ritual lasted several minutes, during which Michael felt more connected to Thalis V than he had since his arrival. He experienced the planet's life force, a vibrant pulse like nothing he had felt on Earth. When the ritual ended, Aliana stepped back, her skin settling into a calm pattern of soft blues and greens. "Thank you, Michael. Your openness honors us." As she left his tent, Michael sat back, bewildered but intrigued. His scientific mind buzzed with questions about the physiological and psychological effects of the ritual. What had he just participated in? Was it purely ceremonial, or was there something more tangible to the Sci-Fi's practices? He made a note to research more about Sci-Fi rituals in the mission logs, but deep down, he knew that no amount of reading could replicate the profound sense of connection he had just experienced. That night, as he lay in his sleeping bag, the calls of the nocturnal creatures of Thalis V lulling him towards sleep, Michael realized that his mission on this planet was not just about rocks and minerals. It was about understanding a new way of life, a new way of being that challenged every norm he had known. And so, under the light of the twin moons, his journey into the heart of Thalis V truly began. Michael awoke to a world bathed in the ethereal light of Thalis V's early dawn. The air was crisp, filled with the sweet scents of the alien flora surrounding their encampment. As he stirred from his sleeping bag, the events of the previous night lingered in his mind, blending with the vivid dreams that had danced through his sleep. Stepping out of his tent, he found the camp bustling with activity. The other team members, a mix of humans and Sci-Fi, were preparing for the day's expeditions. Among them, Aliana was coordinating the day's routes, her demeanor as professional as ever, as if the intimate ritual of last night had been a common occurrence. Michael approached her, eager to discuss the previous night, but as he drew near, Aliana turned to him with a smile that was all business. "Michael, I hope you're ready for today. We found a new vein of chrysolite in the northern sector. It could be what we need for the energy synthesis project." He nodded, pushing his curiosity about the ritual to the back of his mind. Yes, I saw the readings last night. The composition is unusual, isn't it? Indeed, Eliana replied, her eyes lighting up with the same colors that had shimmered during the ritual. Its properties could redefine energy storage on Sci-Fi and Earth alike. As they talked, Michael noticed a group of Sci-Fi children playing near the edge of the camp. They were engaged in a game that involved leaping high into the air, almost as if the lower gravity of Thalis V barely affected them. Their laughter was a bright sound, cutting through the morning air. Eliana followed his gaze. Our young ones learn to harness the planet's energy from an early age. It's how they bond with Thalis, becoming true children of the soil. Intrigued, Michael asked if humans could learn such techniques. Eliana's response was a cryptic smile. Perhaps, in time, when the bond between our peoples strengthens. For now, let's focus on what we can achieve together with the resources we gather. Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of a hover vehicle, loaded with equipment for the day's mission. Michael helped Eliana check the gear, his hands brushing against tools that were alien in design but familiar in purpose. As the team set out toward the northern sector, the landscape of Thalis V unfolded before them. Towering crystal formations rose from the earth, casting prisms of light across the verdant undergrowth. Streams of liquid energy flowed freely, a reminder of the planet's untamed power. At the chrysolite vein, Michael took charge of the excavation. The mineral was encased in a hard silicate shell, requiring precise blasts to access without damaging the delicate structure inside. Under Eliana's watchful eye, he set up the equipment, his actions smooth and practiced. As the shell cracked open, revealing the glowing chrysolite within, Eliana placed her hand gently on the crystal. The energy pulsed visibly, a dance of light that seemed to communicate in a silent language only she could understand. "See how it responds?" she murmured. "Chrysolite is more than a resource, it's a part of our world's soul." As the day progressed, Michael found himself increasingly drawn into the complexities of Sci-Fi culture and their deep connection to their environment. Each mineral extraction, each survey, brought new revelations, not just about the planet but about the beings who called it home. By the time they returned to camp, the suns were setting, casting long shadows over the land. Michael felt a profound respect for Thalis V and its inhabitants, a respect that was slowly morphing into something akin to reverence. That evening, as he catalogued the day's findings, Michael realized that his role here was not just as a scientist but as a bridge between two worlds, each as alien to the other as they were now inexplicably linked. The journey into understanding had no end, but every discovery was a step closer to a shared future. Night had settled over the camp with a quiet hush, broken only by the occasional calls of nocturnal creatures hidden among the thick foliage. Michael was again in his tent, this time analyzing samples from the chrysolite vein, when a soft noise at the entrance made him look up. It was Jorek, one of the Sci-Fi scientists, who rarely interacted directly with the human team members. "Michael, may I enter?" Jorek's voice was low, almost hesitant, a stark contrast to his usual confident demeanor. "Of course," Michael replied, gesturing toward a makeshift seat. "What brings you here at this hour?" Jorek entered, his skin displaying a muted pattern of grays and blues, signaling caution and seriousness. "I need to discuss the implications of using chrysolite for your energy projects on Earth." Michael was immediately attentive. He knew the Sci-Fi considered chrysolite sacred, but the full extent of its importance was still not clear to him. "We're aware of its cultural significance to your people. We'll ensure it's used respectfully and sustainably." Jorek nodded, sitting cross-legged on the floor. "It's not just a cultural issue. Chrysolite is connected to the life force of Thalis. Its removal must be balanced, otherwise, the planet's ecosystem could suffer. We need to establish guidelines for its extraction and use." Recognizing the gravity of the situation, Michael turned off his data pad, focusing entirely on Jorek. "Let's draft those guidelines together. Your knowledge of chrysolite and its properties is crucial." They spent the next hours in deep discussion, sketching out a preliminary framework that considered both scientific and ecological perspectives. Jorek explained how the Sci-Fi used chrysolite in their own technology, not just as a power source but also as a way to enhance their connection with Thalis. As the conversation progressed, Michael was struck by the depth of the Seraphi's relationship with their environment. They didn't just live on Thalis, they were an integral part of it. The thought reshaped his understanding of the task at hand. Their collaborative work was interrupted by a sudden alert from outside. The camp's perimeter sensors had detected movement, something large approaching. Michael and Jorek exchanged a look of alarm and hurried outside. The camp was in a flurry of activity, with both humans and Sci-Fi preparing for whatever was coming their way. As they reached the edge of the camp, the underbrush parted, and a creature stepped into the open. It was massive, easily twice the height of a human, with luminescent fur that glowed under the moon's light. The Sci-Fi around him immediately fell silent, their skins flashing colors of reverence and awe. Jorek turned to Michael, his voice a whisper. "It's a Thalarian, a guardian spirit of the forest. It rarely shows itself unless the balance of the ecosystem is disturbed." The Thalarian's eyes, glowing with a deep, inner light, focused on Michael, then on the samples of chrysolite they had placed around the camp. Its presence was overwhelming, a living embodiment of Thalis itself. Michael, understanding the gravity of the moment, stepped forward. "We mean no harm," he said, speaking clearly but respectfully. "We are here to learn and to understand." The Thalarian watched him for a long, intense moment before turning away and disappearing back into the forest as silently as it had come. The encounter left the camp in a state of wonder and quiet reflection. Jorek looked at Michael, his pattern now showing colors of respect. "You handled that well. The Thalarian's visit is a reminder, we must tread carefully." As they returned to their work, Michael knew that the agreement they were drafting on chrysolite was more than a simple guideline. It was a covenant with Thalis itself, a promise to preserve the harmony of a world not their own. Under the twin moons, the camp had settled into a contemplative silence after the Thalarian's visit. The next morning, a meeting was convened with the entire Human Seraphi team to discuss the new guidelines for chrysolite extraction. The atmosphere was charged with a sense of urgency and responsibility. Michael stood beside Aliana and Jorek at the head of the assembled group. He began, "Last night's encounter with the Thalarian Guardian has made it clear that our operations here affect more than just the physical landscape. We're dealing with the lifeblood of Thalis." Aliana took over, her voice resonant with the authority of her people. "The guidelines we propose are founded on principles of sustainability and respect. We'll limit extraction volumes and locations, ensuring that we do not disrupt the planet's vital rhythms." Jorek added, "We'll also incorporate Sci-Fi rituals into the extraction process. These will help us maintain a balance, attuning our activities to the planet's needs." The team listened intently, the humans taking notes, the Sci-Fi nodding in agreement. The commitment to integrate Sci-Fi customs into human scientific practices was unprecedented but seen as essential for the mission's success. Later, Michael and Jorek worked on a device that could measure the energetic impact of chrysolite extraction. "This sensor will help us detect any disturbances in the planet's energy field," Jorek explained as he adjusted the delicate components. As they tested the device near a small chrysolite deposit, Aliana joined them, observing the readings. "It's crucial that these readings stay within the green zone," she pointed out, indicating the safe range on the device's display. "Any shift towards the red indicates potential harm to Thalis." Their testing proved successful, and plans were made to deploy these sensors around all active extraction sites. As the day progressed, Michael felt a growing bond with his Sci-Fi colleagues. Their shared goal to protect Thalis had bridged any cultural gaps, creating a team united by a common cause. The evening brought a different task. The Sci-Fi had organized a ceremony to officially seal the covenant with Thalis. The entire team gathered around a newly erected monument near the camp, a simple obelisk inscribed with symbols from both human and Sci-Fi languages. As the Sci-Fi chanted in their flowing language, Aliana explained to the humans that the ceremony was not just a formality but a profound commitment. "We are binding ourselves to the planet, promising to uphold the balance and respect its sanctity," she said. After the ceremony, as the group shared a meal prepared by both human and Sci-Fi cooks, Michael discussed the day's achievements with Jorek. "I never imagined our mission would evolve into something this profound," he admitted. Jorek smiled, his skin glowing softly in the evening light. In Sci-Fi culture, every significant act is both a beginning and a commitment to the future. Today, we have started something that future generations will continue. The meal ended with laughter and stories shared between the species, tales of Earth and Thalis, of human curiosity and Sci-Fi wisdom. Michael went to bed with a feeling of accomplishment and a newfound reverence for the world outside his tent. In the quiet of the night, he pondered the events that had unfolded. Each step forward on this alien planet had deepened his understanding not just of science but of a shared existence. The covenant with Thalis was more than an agreement. It was a new way of seeing the universe, through eyes that looked beyond mere exploitation to a deeper, more meaningful collaboration. The days that followed the sealing of the covenant brought a new rhythm to the camp. The implementation of the new extraction guidelines was proceeding smoothly, with the sensors showing all operations within the safe range. The humans and Sci-Fi worked side by side, their efforts harmonized like the dual moons in the sky. However, an unexpected development was brewing on the horizon. One morning, while Michael was analyzing the sensor data with Jorek, an urgent message arrived from Earth. It was from the Coalition of Planetary Operations, CPO, the governing body overseeing interstellar resources. They had caught wind of the unconventional methods being applied on Thalis V and were concerned about the pace of resource gathering. Michael read the message aloud, his voice tinged with frustration. "They're pushing for an increase in extraction rates, citing economic pressures back on Earth. They don't understand the delicate balance we've achieved here." Jorek's skin flashed a deep red, signaling his distress. "This could undo everything we've worked so hard to establish. Thalis is not just another rock to be hollowed out for profit." Determined to protect their work, Michael proposed a video conference with the CPO to explain the unique situation on Thalis V. Aliena and Jorek agreed, and preparations were made for the meeting. During the conference, Michael, Aliena, and Jorek presented a united front. They shared data, images of the thriving ecosystem, and testimonials from both human and Sci-Fi team members about the benefits of their sustainable approach. The CPO officials were initially skeptical, their faces set in hard lines on the screen. However, as the presentation went on, their expressions began to change. The turning point came when Aliena showed a live feed of a Thalarian appearing briefly at the edge of the forest, its presence a stark reminder of the planet's living essence. "We must understand that Thalis V is not merely a supplier of resources but a partner in our survival," Aliena concluded, her voice firm yet inviting. The officials conferred among themselves, then turned back to the screen. "We will consider your arguments and review the extraction quotas," one of them said, marking the first step in what promised to be an ongoing negotiation. Relieved but aware of the challenges still ahead, the team continued their work with renewed vigor. Michael spent the next days visiting the extraction sites, ensuring that the operations remained within the agreed parameters. He saw firsthand the balance between extraction and preservation, a delicate dance of give and take. As the weeks passed, news arrived from Earth. The CPO had decided to uphold the current extraction rates for a provisional period, monitoring the ecological and economic outcomes. It was a partial victory, but a victory nonetheless. With this news, the team organized a small celebration in the camp. The Sci-Fi prepared a feast, and the humans contributed with music from Earth. The night was filled with a mix of Sci-Fi harmonies and human melodies, a symphony of interstellar fellowship. Amid the festivities, Michael and Jorek stepped aside, looking up at the night sky. "We've made a difference, Jorek. Not just for Thalis, but for how humanity approaches new worlds," Michael said, his voice reflective. Jorek nodded, his skin shimmering with subtle patterns of hope. "Yes, and our work continues. Every day we learn, we adapt, and we respect." The celebration wound down, and the camp settled under the starry sky. Michael felt a profound connection to everything around him, the land, the people, and the shared mission. As he retired to his tent, the serene faces of his team members lingered in his mind, a reminder of the collective endeavor to tread lightly on this new world they were learning to call home. With a provisional agreement from Earth, the camp's atmosphere was buoyant, yet Michael felt an undercurrent of vigilance. It was essential to maintain the balance they had fought so hard to establish. The daily checks of the environmental sensors became a ritual, each green reading a silent victory against the pressures from afar. One morning, as the camp awoke to another day under the pink and blue hues of Thalis V's dawn, Aliana approached Michael with a concerned expression. "We need to talk. I've received reports of unusual wildlife behavior in the western sector, near our primary extraction site." Michael followed her to the command center, where they reviewed the sensor outputs and drone footage of the area. The videos showed agitated groups of native fauna, species that had previously shown no interest in the human activities. "This could be an early warning sign," Aliana explained, her eyes fixed on the screen. "If our activities are affecting the wildlife, it might indicate a deeper disturbance in the ecosystem." Determined to investigate, Michael organized a field trip to the site. Accompanied by a team of both human and Sci-Fi specialists, they traversed the vibrant alien landscape, their vehicles humming softly over the terrain. Upon arrival, the evidence was more pronounced than the footage had suggested. The creatures, bioluminescent and insect-like, were swarming in large numbers, their movements erratic and seemingly distressed. Using a portable version of the energy sensor, Michael conducted readings of the ambient energy fields. "The levels are fluctuating wildly," he observed, the data flashing red on his device. "Something's disrupting the natural flow here." The team worked through the day, taking samples and recording observations. Jurek, examining a cluster of agitated creatures, suddenly called out, "Michael, look at this." He pointed to a series of small, almost imperceptible fissures in the ground, emanating from the extraction site. These fissures could be channeling energy away from its natural pathways, causing this disruption, Jurek hypothesized, his tone urgent. Armed with this new information, they returned to camp, where Michael immediately contacted Earth. He presented their findings, emphasizing the need for immediate adjustments to the extraction process to prevent further harm. Meanwhile, Aliana convened a meeting with the Sci-Fi elders, seeking their insight into the ancient lore of the planet. The elders suggested a ritual to realign the energy, a traditional method that had been used in the past during times of natural imbalance. Combining science and tradition, the team crafted a plan. They would modify the extraction equipment to minimize disruption and participate in the Sci-Fi ritual to restore harmony. The ritual took place at dusk, with the entire camp participating. Sci-Fi chants filled the air, harmonizing with the hum of the modified equipment in the background. As night fell, the energy readings began to stabilize, the wildlife's behavior returning to normal. In the following days, Michael monitored the situation closely. The positive results were a testament to the synergy of human technology and Sci-Fi wisdom. "We're not just taking from this planet, we're learning how to give back," he mused aloud during a debrief with the team. As the project continued, the bonds between the humans and Sci-Fi deepened, their cooperation a beacon of hope. They were not merely visitors on Thalis V, they were becoming part of its legacy, guardians of its treasures and champions of its balance. In his quiet moments, Michael often reflected on the lessons learned. Each decision, each action taken in respect and awareness, resonated across the landscape, echoing through the cosmos as a testament to what could be achieved when two disparate cultures united for a common cause. The respect for Thalis V and its inhabitants was not just policy, it was a deeply held commitment shared by everyone at the camp, a promise to tread carefully and care profoundly. As the Thalis project neared its first anniversary, the camp prepared for the annual review by the Coalition of Planetary Operations. This was more than a routine check. It was a crucial assessment that would determine the future of human and Sci-Fi cooperation on the planet. The team, both human and Sci-Fi, had worked tirelessly to showcase the sustainable model they had developed. The morning of the review, the camp was a flurry of activity. Michael reviewed the final reports, the data clearly demonstrating the successful balance between extraction and ecological preservation. Aliana rehearsed her presentation, highlighting the integration of Sci-Fi cultural practices with human technology. As the CPO delegates arrived, they were greeted by a display of unity and collaboration. The tour began at the monitoring station, where Jorek demonstrated the advanced sensors that tracked environmental stability. These tools ensure that our operations are in harmony with Thalis, he explained, pointing to the green indicators on the screens. Next, they visited the extraction sites, where the delegates observed the minimal impact techniques in action. The previously agitated wildlife now moved peacefully around the area, a testament to the restored balance. During the formal presentation, Eliana spoke passionately about the Seraphi's deep connection to their planet. Thalis V is alive, its energy flowing through every creature and plant. With our human partners, we have learned to tap into this energy without causing harm, she said, her words resonating with genuine conviction. Michael added, what we've achieved here can serve as a model for other operations throughout the galaxy. It proves that economic development and environmental integrity can coexist. The delegates were visibly impressed, their skepticism replaced by curiosity. In the Q&A session that followed, they asked insightful questions, probing into the scalability of the project's methods and the potential for replication on other worlds. As the review concluded, the CPO's lead delegate, a seasoned administrator named Cora, addressed the gathering. Your work here is not just a success, it's a beacon. We will be recommending not only the continuation of this project but also considering its methods for broader application. The camp erupted in cheers and applause, the relief and joy palpable among the team members. That evening, a celebration took place, featuring a blend of Earth and Sci-Fi cultural elements. Music filled the air, alongside the scent of traditional Sci-Fi dishes and Earth-style barbecue. Sitting beside the campfire, Michael and Eliana shared a quiet moment. We've started something incredible here, Eliana, Michael said, watching the flames dance against the night sky. Eliana nodded, her skin glowing softly in the firelight. Yes, we've planted seeds that will grow on both Thalis and beyond. This partnership, our friendship, it's the kind of alliance that can change worlds. In the days that followed, the CPO's formal approval came through, ensuring the project's continuation and expansion. Michael, Eliana, and their team were not just maintaining a delicate balance, they were setting a precedent for the future. As Thalis V's twin suns rose on the horizon, casting a golden glow over the thriving landscape, the promise of a new dawn was clear. Here, on this vibrant planet, a new chapter in human and Sci-Fi coexistence was unfolding, a narrative of mutual respect and shared prosperity that would echo through the stars for generations to come. The legacy of Thalis V was one of hope, a beacon to guide humanity and its allies as they navigated the vast, unknown frontiers of space.